She entered the glass-walled meeting room at Storm CP. The atmosphere froze the instant she crossed the threshold. No luxury purse, no stilettos, no gleaming watch, just a reserved woman in faded flats, hair tied back, clutching a simple folder to her heart. The HR director raised an eyebrow and whispered sharply enough to cut. She looks like she pulled that outfit from a forgotten laundry bin. A smooth, talking man in a tailored suit, another applicant, jumped in without pause. "We're here to interview talent, not pity cases." Chuckles spread across the room. The panel barely skimmed her resume. Their gazes raked over her, as if she were an error someone forgot to erase. Yet, Nina Taylor stood firm, expression unshaken, folder gripped tightly. They were clueless about the truth. They didn't know the man who forged this company from nothing was her spouse. Storm CP's Silicon Valley stronghold towered like a giant. 50 stories of metal and glass, a tech dynasty bending the globe to its command. The 40th floor interview space was a nexus of authority. A long oak table stretched beneath wall-to-wall windows overlooking the valley, screens buzzing with information. Nina stepped inside, 30, her dark hair swept into that ponytail, her hazel eyes sharp yet soft. She was striking, elegance etched in every feature, but her second-hand clothes and worn flats branded her an outsider. Beneath her quiet exterior burned a mind that shattered code like brittle ice and a spirit that refused to yield. She'd fought through rounds of interviews for a leadership role. Her nights were spent perfecting systems that powered Storm CP's dominance. But they didn't see that. They saw only a nobody in threadbare attire. The panel sat like a tribunal, 5 of them, suits crisp, faces colder than the glass walls. Diane Brooks, HR director, presided at the head, her crimson blazer a signal, her blonde bob severe. Greg Palmer, senior executive, sprawled beside her, his Rolex glinting, pen spinning in his hand. Tyler Hensley, 28, a privileged hair, grinned in a suit that screamed wealth, his tie a silken knot. Laura Chen, data strategist, stared through slim glasses, her lips a tight slash. Mark Evans, operations head, leaned back, arms folded, his buzzcut catching the light. Hundreds had vied for the role. Now it was Nina against Tyler, but their glances declared the battle already won. Nina passed her resume to Diane. Plain paper, no embellishments, just her name and a record of understated triumphs. Diane smirked, took it, and flicked it toward Greg without a look. He pushed it back, sneering. No point in reviewing it. The pages slid unevenly across the table, halting askew before Nina. No relevant skills, mediocre schooling, wrong field. So, tell us, why do you believe you belong at this company? His voice dripped venom, as if she'd insulted their space. Nina stood taller, her tone even. For 8 years, I've crafted systems that scale. My last startup tripled its profits with my architecture. I'm here to tackle challenges Storm CP hasn't yet defined. Tyler interrupted with a laugh. Scalable systems. What? Like an app for a juice cart? This isn't a sympathy hire. Diane grinned. She's out of touch. Probably thinks a spreadsheet is cutting edge. Laura leaned in. What's your degree? Sociology. This is Storm CP, not a poetry circle. Nina nodded. It's computer science, specializing in AI ethics. I've published papers. Mark cut her off. Published. We don't need essays. We need outcomes. You're sinking fast. She tried again. My last project slashed processing times by. Tyler drowned her out. Spare us the fairy tales, kid. Nobody's buying it. Diane didn't relent. She grabbed a marker and scrawled, "Loser," across Nina's resume, the ink seeping as she sneered, "That's your new label." Tyler cheered, "Sign it! Hang it!" Greg clapped, "She's a portrait of failure." The panel erupted, phones out, recording the marred pages, while Nina stood, ink smudging under her fingers as she held it, her flats anchored. She didn't crack, her calm a shield against their malice. The cruelty spread quickly. Diane tapped her pen. "You're wasting our time. Did you grab that skirt from a donation pile?" Greg chuckled. "She looks dressed for a yard sale." Where's the bargain bin? Tyler leaned back. Never seen a boardroom before, have you? Maybe on a TV show. Their laughter echoed off the walls, sharp and vicious, a pack tightening its grip. Nina stayed composed. I'm here to discuss skills, not my wardrobe. Diane rolled her eyes. Skills? Sweetheart, you don't have any we'd want. Laura smirked. Try a shop job. That's more your speed. Mark grinned. Yeah, stay at the bottom. This is the major leagues, not a handout. Laura raised the stakes. She grabbed a stapler and shot it at Nina's papers, metal piercing as she hissed. Let's tear up the fantasy. Mark laughed. Swiss cheese resume. Diane smirked, fits her empty head. The pages ripped, staples scattering, and Nina bent to collect them, hands steady despite the sting. But Laura kicked them off the table. Trash belongs on the floor. Her silence was a fortress they couldn't pierce. They kept piling on. Greg stood. Let's make it interesting. A sudden test, logic and coding now. No laptop, just pen and paper. Prove you're not a fake. He shoved a thick packet her way. 10 pages of problems, gnarled like thorns, designed to stump most coders. Nina took it, hands unwavering. Fine, she said, bending over it, her pen racing, equations, loops, and proofs flowing like she'd breathed them. 5 minutes passed. Tyler yawned loudly. Diane scrolled her phone. Laura muttered, she's writing gibberish. Nina slid it back. Finished. Greg grabbed it, glanced at a corner, then tore it in half, slowly, the rip slicing the silence. He tossed it in the bin. Barely passable. You're nowhere near good enough. A total waste. Tyler went further. He snatched a water pitcher from the table and poured it over Nina's head, the cold rush soaking her blouse and skirt, as he jeered, Chill out, dreamer. Greg cackled. She's a drenched mess now. Laura snapped a photo. Viral treasure. Water dripped down her face, pooling at her flats, but Nina blinked through the chill. Her ponytail plastered, yet she didn't waver, her strength a flame they couldn't extinguish. Diane picked up her phone. Security now. We've got an intruder. Tyler laughed. Get her out. She's a blemish on this room. Mark smirked. Don't stumble, darling. 2 guards burst in, black polos, badges flashing. One seized her arm. The other snatched her folder. Mark upped the ante. He grabbed Nina's folder and shredded it. Papers fluttering like ashes, he barked, No place for frauds here. Diane cheered. Tear her dreams to bits. Tyler tossed a pen at her. Write your sob story elsewhere. The torn scraps hit the floor, her work in ruins, and Nina knelt to gather them, fingers steady, but Mark stomped them into the carpet. Stay down, nobody. Her calm was a stone they couldn't shatter. Move. The first guard growled, pulling her toward the door. Nina didn't resist, just walked, flats quiet, face composed as Tyler shouted. The mailroom's hiring. The door slammed, their laughter leaking through, and the elevator engulfed her. Humiliated, but her resolve held firm. Greg sealed the disgrace. He yanked a trash can from under the table and dumped it over Nina as the guards dragged her, coffee grounds and crumpled paper raining down as he sneered. This is your place. Laura laughed. Garbage girl, perfected. Diane clapped. A fitting exit for a fake. The mess stuck to her wet blouse, grounds clinging to her hair, but Nina shook it off, her flats slipping slightly. She didn't break, just walked, her hazel eyes steely, their cruelty a tempest she faced without flinching. It didn't end there. As Nina passed, Diane leaned close, hissing, You're a laughingstock. Go back to flipping patties. Go. Greg flicked a paperclip at her. Here's your reward. Spend it well. It bounced off her shoulder, clattering down. Tyler stood. Wait, let's give her a proper goodbye. He grabbed a half-full coffee mug, cold, and splashed it across her blouse, the brown stain spreading fast. Here's your storm seep welcome. He jeered as Laura clapped. Perfect. She's marked now. Nina wiped her cheek, coffee dripping, but didn't falter, just kept moving, the guards tugging harder. The lobby struck like a blow, marble gleaming, employees bustling, unaware of the woman in stained clothes being escorted out. The guards didn't let up. One pushed her shoulder. "Keep going." The other tossed her folder into a bin by the exit. "Don't return," he barked as the glass doors parted. Nina stepped into the sunlight, coffee staining her shirt, resumed trashed, but her hazel eyes remained clear. She'd endured worse than this. Years of grinding, proving herself in rooms that rejected her. This wasn't about ego. It was about every person they'd crushed before her. She pulled out her phone, called Elias. "It's me. It went badly." His voice tightened. "How badly?" She told him, calm, no tears. "The coffee, the test, the guards. I'm coming," he said. "Now." Morning broke with its own storm. Storm CP's executive floor hummed with tension. An urgent meeting called, without warning. Senior leaders filed into the boardroom, 30 of them, suits pressed, faces taut, shareholders lurking, a live feed streaming to investors globally. The room was a battlefield ready to erupt. A massive mahogany table gleamed under glowing screens, the valley sprawling below. Diane sat at the front, blazer immaculate. Greg twirled his pen. Tyler slouched, tie loose. Laura adjusted her glasses. Mark checked his watch. They assumed it was a power move. Promotions, bonuses, their chance to shine. Then the doors burst open, and the world shifted. Elias Storm strode in, tall, 42, dark hair streaked with gray, black suit sharp as a blade, blue eyes icy. The elusive CEO of Storm P, a billionaire who'd climbed from nothing. A trailer park kid coding on a borrowed machine, turning scraps into a tech empire that dominated the skyline. Feared from Shanghai to London, he'd been a shadow for months, steering from the dark. Everyone stood, chairs scraping, breaths held. Beside him walked Nina, same stained blouse, same skirt, flats tapping softly, ponytail swaying, her hazel eyes unwavering. Faces paled. Diane's pen snapped. Greg's clattered. Tyler shrank. Laura's glasses fogged. Mark choked. Elias stopped, voice cold and steady. "Sit." They collapsed like stones. He scanned them. "I gave this team one task, assess candidates for leadership to show me who's ready to advance. But yesterday, you didn't evaluate a candidate." He paused, the silence a knife, then turned to Nina. "You insulted my wife." Gasps pierced the air. Diane's hand trembled. Greg's jaw dropped. Tyler's chair creaked as he shrank further. Elias stepped closer. "Nina and I built Storm's P from nothing. 2 broke kids, no sleep, no money. I handled the hardware. She shaped the AI. Every system you profit from stems from her brilliance. You didn't just overlook a resume. You humiliated the woman I cherish most." He pointed at Diane. "Greg, Tyler, Laura, Mark. Repeat what you said yesterday. Now, to the board." The room froze. Diane stammered, "I didn't." Elias cut her off. "No excuses. Speak." A text switched on the screen. Security footage playing, raw and loud. Diane's hiss, "She looks like a student begging for a side gig." Tyler's cackle, "Janitorial services, where's her broom?" Greg's sneer, "No skills, wrong degree." Laura's jab, "Try retail." Mark's quip, "She's in over her head." Greg again, dressed for a swap meet. Tyler's finale, mailrooms open. The boardroom stilled, shareholders shifting, investors glaring through the feed, the words a fatal blow ringing out. Diane's red blazer became a shroud, her marker a noose. She'd defaced the woman whose code fueled their empire, her hands shaking as she faced the board, her smug hiss replayed for millions, her career in ruins. Greg's Rolex hung useless, his coffee splash a chain. He'd soaked the mine behind their profits, and the trash he dumped buried him, his name blacklisted to oblivion. Tyler's pinstriped suit sagged, his water dump a scar. He drenched Storm CP's soul, and his dynasty's doors slammed shut, his laughter a ghost as investors jeered. The screen seared their shame into history, every sneer a nail in their coffins. Nina's quiet rise was their executioner. Elias didn't waver. "You tore her test, solved perfectly, faster than you could imagine. You threw coffee. You called security. Say it again." Diane's lip shook. "I can't." Tyler stared at his shoes, silent. Greg rasped, "Mistake." Laura whispered, "We didn't know." Mark croaked, "Sorry." Elias leaned in. "Sorry means nothing. You showed me who you are, petty, cruel, blind." Stormpy doesn't carry dead weight. He nodded to security, the same guards in black polos. "Take them. They're done." The room held its breath as the guards moved. Diane's blazer dragged. Greg's Rolex dangled. Tyler's tie flopped. Laura's glasses slipped. Mark's buzzcut bowed. The fallout was ablaze. Diane, Greg, Tyler, Laura, Mark, fired instantly, badges torn, marched out as the board watched, shareholders nodding, investors typing furious notes. Laura's glasses couldn't hide her collapse, her staples a curse. She'd shredded the work of Stormspee's architect, and now her resume was trash, her viral photos a stain as the industry turned away. Mark's buzzcut bowed low, his folder tearing a brand. He'd ripped apart the woman who built their world, and his stomp echoed as he hit rock bottom, begging beside Greg while Nina's coin gleamed in his palm. The boardroom's silence roared with their ruin, every laugh a boomerang that crushed them. Elias's steady wrath and Nina's unwavering gaze were the gavel falling, their own words the rope that hanged them. Stormsp blacklisted them, their names torched across the industry. No company would touch them. Resumes shredded, calls ignored, LinkedIn profiles silent. Diane's blazer landed in a thrift shop. Greg's Rolex was pawned for rent. Tyler's dynasty abandoned him. Laura's glasses sold for pennies. Mark's confidence crumbled to ash. Their titles, reputations, and lives vanished in a moment, all for mocking a woman they failed to see. 6 months later, rain pounded a downtown station, commuters rushing, umbrellas snapping. Greg Palmer slumped against a wall, once a Stormsp executive, now unshaven, coat tattered, a cardboard sign trembling in his hands, "Please help." His Rolex was gone, his sneer a distant memory, his fingers shaking in the cold. Heels clicked. Nina, hair still in that ponytail, now in a navy coat, her presence a quiet force. She'd just spoken at an AI ethics summit, her words shaping the future while his fell apart. She paused, reached into her pocket, pulled a quarter, shiny, cold, and dropped it into his palm. It gleamed. The man who'd torn her test now clutched her coin. She met his eyes, a faint smile flickering, then walked on, flats tapping steadily, her strength a silent roar. That coin wasn't pity. It was justice, sharp and cold. Nina didn't need to shout. She let their own decay bury them. She'd forged Stormspee's core, and they'd spat on it until Elias turned their world to dust. Now she stood taller while they sank, a lesson etched in their collapse. If you've ever been judged by your appearance, hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more stories that strike deep.